Well, let me shift topics a little bit. And you mentioned AI earlier in the context of being one of those drivers of
Yeah.
electricity load increases. But you've also been pretty outspoken about both the potential and the risks of AI. I think a number of us are moving really quickly right now with use cases on how we use it. I'll give you one example. At Edison, last year, we did almost 200,000 asset inspections in high wildfire risk areas using drones. Just generating terabytes of data, great ability to capture images all around. There's no way humans could process all those images, so we've been using an AI-enabled tool to down-select the images that we're going to look at. We're looking at other use cases right now, but we recognize there's risk too. So I'd love your thoughts about, broadly across industry, and then if you think about our sector, how should we be thinking about AI from your perspective and both the opportunities and the risks there?
Well, I mean, I've had many sleepless nights thinking about AI.
Mhm.
So I am worried about AI on the downside.
Mhm.
AI is just this, it's sort of a technology like nuclear. It's extremely powerful, but it could get out of hand. And so I have been struggling with this question for a long time of what to do to mitigate AI existential risk. And I've been a big proponent actually of regulation, of at least having some oversight by the government, acting as kind of a referee to make sure that AI companies don't go do super dangerous things, and nobody's even watching them, or trying to oversee the good of the public, and make sure that companies don't kind of cut corners or break rules or do things that would endanger the public. And this is the origin of the FAA, and it's various regulatory organizations that exist. And now those regulatory agencies only came into being after a lot of people died. A lot of things went wrong. So with AI, I don't think we can afford the luxury of waiting until it goes wrong. So I think we need to be preemptive on this front. So I've had a number of conversations with world leaders, including very senior people in China and around the world. Europe. I'm actually heading to Europe tomorrow to have some AI safety conversations where the world needs to work together on AI safety. It's a really big deal. I can't emphasize this enough. So I was somewhat encouraged by China's willingness to engage in AI regulation. And I did point out that if you get some digital superintelligence, it might be in charge of China instead of you. And I'm not sure you would like that. That argument seemed to resonate.
Have you, with your operations in China, you feel like you've enjoyed good support, and are you comfortable with intellectual property?
Yeah, we've actually gotten very good support in China. Tesla has the only fully foreign-owned car factory in China, and we do very well in the domestic market in China. And our Shanghai factory is our highest performing factory globally. So it's a very impressive team that Tesla has in China. And the work ethic there is incredible. So, I think it's going to be an interesting future. We are entering a phase where the U.S. will not be the biggest economy in the world. And there's nobody alive today who can remember when the United States was not the biggest economy in the world. So it's going to be a little probably discomforting at first to a lot of people to have China be probably 2 or 3 times the size of the U.S. economy. It's already higher. The industrial output, manufactured output, is already significantly higher than the U.S., and that will increase.
And they've had a significant investment focus in electric vehicles.
Yes. China is actually, of any large country, the most forward-leaning with sustainable energy. So they have massive solar projects, wind projects, and have done the most with respect to electric vehicles of any large country. Of smaller countries, Norway is the leader, but for any very large economy, China is by far the most forward-leaning for sustainability.
Well, let me pull up from Tesla, and you do have a few other places where you spend your time.
Yeah.
So, again, I mentioned in introducing you, but SpaceX, Twitter, Boring Company, Neuralink, which is really exciting. I saw you had some approvals recently.
We're offering free brain chipping as you leave the conference.
Can I suggest a few folks to go first?
Sit right here. You won't feel a thing.
Joking aside, you're making a personal choice to spend time across these. Is there a common thread in terms of mission across all of these? And what excites you most about your portfolio?
Well, I mean, the aspiration with these various things is to maximize the probability that the future is good for civilization. The future is just a set of probabilities. Like we don't know, for sure what's going to happen. But to the degree we can shift the probabilities towards a positive future for civilization, I think we want to do that. And to me, this is really just, if you're sort of long-term thinker at all, this is naturally what one should want to do, because how can we really exist in the absence of civilization? I mean, you can see what it's like. Just watch, Naked and Afraid. That's when you don't have civilization. It's civilization pretty great. So I think we want to keep it going and keep advancing civilization. So I think we should try to expand the scope and scale of consciousness such that we are better able to understand the universe and our place in it. So I would call, my philosophy a philosophy of curiosity. And while we will all die as individuals, civilization can continue, in theory, for a very, very long time, billions of years or more. So we should try to make sure that happens. So these various things that I'm doing are trying to shift the probability of the future being good. Now, I hope it may turn out that some of these things, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So hopefully, those good intentions do not translate to something bad. But I think the road to hell is mostly paved by bad intentions. Once in a while, there's a good intention paving stone in there. But the intent is to maximize the probability the future is good for civilization. So in the case of, say, Neuralink, it's like, well, how does that affect things? It's like, well, if we are to link the sort of the path of the AI to human will, then what could act to impair that linkage? And we're getting pretty esoteric there, but one of the issues is the bandwidth between your cortex and your computer or your AI, the AI extension of yourself. And if that bandwidth is too low, then the computer will simply be bored. As the bandwidth gets very low, you effectively have a very thin straw between yourself and the AI extension of yourself. Now we are already cyborgs when you think about the fact that your phone and your computer are an extension of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And probably, I think most people, if you forget your phone somewhere, it's like having missing limb syndrome,
Yes.
And then you're like sort of patting your pockets, and it's like the phone is basically an extension of yourself.
Starting with, you don't know anybody's phone number anymore.
Yes,
Right.
Exactly. I had this like nightmare, like where I was stuck at a party and someone else had taken my phone, and so I had their phone, but I couldn't use it, and and then they were like, "So, who should we call?" I'm like, "I don't know anyone's number."
So Neuralink.
So you don't even know who to call. How do you? It must happen a lot. It's like you don't know anyone's number, and they've got your phone, and you can't call whatever an Uber or anything, and you're just stuck.
So I like that idea of increasing the bandwidth between the computer assistant and the brain, but apparently we also need a safety lock to make sure we don't lose the computer in the process. Elon, this has been terrific.